G'day guys, what's cracking? It's Ralph here. Today I'm in my beloved Burleigh. Our lives kind of revolve a lot around Burleigh for a whole ton of reasons, and I thought today I would take you on a expedition that I've probably done 100 times of shooting Burleigh that I realised I've probably never taken you on before. There's lots of different avenues you can shoot Burleigh, and what we're going to do today is go down in front of a building called the Pavilion, which is behind me, and we're going to shoot on the beach, which is just here. The beach turns into some rocks. So the idea this morning was this is the Pavilion behind me, and to shoot those windows with a bit of glow from the sun. And getting here, we've realised several things. One is that you can't shoot this close to the building. I'm a metre away from the building, so you need to move more this direction. The problem with moving in this direction is the sea is there and it's high tide. High tide's coming in. It's currently 5 o'clock and high tide's at 7:30, so you can't actually move that way to get a better angle. And so then we go, well, let's go all the way back here. I don't know if you can see those lights in the distance, but the beach, as I'll explain in a few moments, has been cut away by the surf, and so you can't get down on sea level to take some great shots. And now we've discovered that whilst the forecast was a mixture of clouds throughout the sky, there is no cloud overhead for a long while, but right on the horizon is a massive thick band, so we're not even sure if we're going to get much glow or how it's going to go. So not the best circumstances to come out, and probably not a portfolio piece or a banger in store. So we ventured further down the beach where I pointed to earlier, and let me just show you something here. There's this massive cliff-like structure that I could fall to my doom in the ocean. It's not that bad. It's 2 meters where the surf has cut away at the beach. Happens here at Burleigh, and then they pump sand from Talabudra all the way over to here through a big pipe that's up there, or they get their big excavators on the beach to move the sand around, which is really fascinating. Anyway, it's quite annoying for us this morning, because it means we've got to shoot up high rather than low, and it means our subject, which is the Pavilion, just looks kind of ordinary. So I've kind of had to adapt, and what I've decided to do is use the leading line of the edge of the beach kind of into this cove around to the Pavilion to kind of draw you in and hold you in while the sun comes up over here, which at the moment looks thoroughly underwhelming. Yes, but there's a secret reason why we are here this morning and nowhere else, because we probably could have chosen better solutions and better options to this morning, and that is that behind me in this little cove are juvenile hammerhead sharks. Yeah, and not kind of like there's dolphins out there, and then there's not. They might not actually be there. Here's the story. About a month ago, 6 weeks ago, the hammerhead sharks rolled into Burleigh and started hanging out there. When the surf was low and calm, so we're talking like a couple of feet or less, the hammerheads found some refuge here. They need to go places where they're safe, where they don't have to fight and expend energy in order to grow stronger. And there was up to like 20 of them. The other day, I'm at a market here in Burleigh, just behind me, and I'm cruising along, and there's a bunch of photographers in different shops selling their stuff. And I got talking to Izzy D, and I'm like, I love your work. We're chatting, and she had a photo of a drone shot top down of the hammerhead sharks. I'm like, oh, that's epic. And she said that she was one of the first peoples. She was like one of the first 2 people to discover the hammerhead sharks and go swimming with them until the entire population of the Gold Coast and the country descended on the place to do the same. And so I then got chatting with her. I said, they're not there anymore, are they? She goes, no, but what we saw is they came, and then when the surf built up, they vanished, and then when the surf calmed down, they came back again. Anyway, we've had a big weekend of surf. It's now Friday morning, and the surf has petered out to nothing. It's been like that the last couple of days, so I'm just hopeful, yeah, keen to see if that's what is in store for us. It's about another hour before I can put the drone up, and it's probably another hour and a half until the sun comes up to be able to do that. So we're just going to take some photos until that moment happens, and then I will show you the disappointing drone footage of top down of ocean floor with no hammerheads. It's just the story of the disaster crew, right? But hopefully it will be different this morning. all at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. And we think these guys are just coming out, having a bit of a play and a bash before they head up there. The reason that's important is because I've committed now to keeping my camera in exactly the same spot, and I'm going to shoot it throughout the morning, and then I'm going to splice the photo together to give you a finished image, which will be a photo kind of sequencing the time that as the sun comes up, because there's a little bit of a slither of light underneath. I'll show you the photo I've just taken. A little bit of slither of light underneath those clouds over there. They're kind of breaking up a little bit. There's a bit of glow behind, so it's kind of really interesting. I'm liking the pull of the beach around the corner, which has us nestled in. So that's the plan, and there is every chance that this rogue footy match that is taking place will knock my camera, which is only $9,000, into the ocean. So we will see what happens, but we all know that it's going to happen, don't we? Yeah. One of the problems I have usually with this shot is this kind of approach to photography is I'll take a shot and I'll be like, yeah, and I'll stay there for half an hour, and then something else will happen. I'll be like, oh, that's so good, we'll go over there and do that now, and I haven't got the patience or the discipline. Today is a day of patience and discipline. In photography, there's a fundamental principle called dynamic range, and that is the dynamic range of light in a photograph from really light to really dark. And on this photograph that I'm choosing, you see here behind me is super light, and here is pitch black. And there's this key line all the way down here. And then we've got the light of the pavilion just here, which is super light, and it's surrounded by darkness. And so you're compromising of which do you prefer. Now, my approach is you can use the histogram, or you can use your light meter, or just go by light. But what you want to do is preserve the highlights. So take the highlights down to the lowest point you can, the darkest point you can, while still recognizing that they are highlights and still holding the detail. Now your darkness, your shadows will still be in great shadow, but you'll be able to resurrect some of that, recover some of that in Lightroom in your post-editing afterwards. The other option is you take two photos, one of the light, one of the dark, but for this morning's experiment and what I'm doing with this photograph, I'm not going to do that. Speaking about dynamic range, you see this is the histogram. And what that histogram is telling us at the moment, just zoom in on that for you, is that there's more dark in the photo than there is light. When we're on the left hand side it's dark, when we're on the right hand side it's light. So if this were a blazing day, it would look opposite to this. It would look like there's a lot of light. And watch what happens as I change my shutter speed and I get lighter, so I make my shutter speed longer. You see the light shifts, and if I keep going with that, well, I'm at its peak, but if I were able to keep going, you see there starts to be a line on the right hand side. That line on the right hand side means you've blown out your highlights. Just like if you go all the way back here, it's like if you go all the way back here and you make it quicker and quicker, you see how that gets darker and it's all in shadow, and you've blown out your shadows, or you've destroyed your shadows, you crushed your highlights. And so what you want to do is stay away from a line here being stuck on either side of the histogram, and you should be right. There's no correct way. People say, oh, you should have the perfect thing like this. That's not my ideal settings for this particular shot. I actually want it a bit darker, so that it accentuates that color and brings some mystery to it, because it still is early in the morning. So I'm happy with about there. And what I've done here is focus. So I've focused on the pavilion, and I focused right in. And look at this, you can tell how focused it is by I'm moving the lens. And so I want those window struts to be as clear and sharp as possible, and I'm zoomed in on 100%, and that's pretty good. And because I'm shooting on an aperture of 9, a lot of this is actually going to be in focus as well. And now we're just playing with the shutter speed, a little bit with the ISO, to create some nice patterns here as the waves come in and they start to break on the beach here. So yeah, it's looking okay. Bit of a nice red streak, and hopefully when the sun bursts through that will be hot to trot. So I've opted for super wide. It's 14.5mm that we're going, which enables me to capture all the way from here right through to easily covering where the sun comes up. So it's super wide, and offers just a different experience. And often when you shoot really wide, somebody viewing that photograph, and unless it's absolutely full of splendor, you can feel detached from it. It feels a bit far away. So you let me know what you think about these photos, about whether you feel far away or you feel drawn in. I've tried to use that leading line from the bottom left hand all the way around like this to draw you in to the photograph. We'll see what the sun does. We'll just see what the elements deliver. I just wanted to show you these beautiful colors. Gosh, I hope it shows up on the photo, but what I can see through my screen is what I can see with my naked eye. You've got this beautiful red here. It's like deep orange glow. But then you have this pink band fading to blue with a little bit of this like highlight cloud. And it just, I don't know, it complements the scene. Like you've got this blue through here. You've got some orange here to kind of hold it in. And then we've got the darkness that leads you around the corner to it. That's Burleigh Hill right there. So the idea is that when you look at the photo, your eye is drawn to about here, your eye is drawn around here, and then thrown, after being entertained in the pavilion, thrown into the sunrise, which now looks like it's actually going to come pretty good and come pretty nice. And the sun should be coming up there, and I imagine my shot is from here all the way through to here. We're looking good, we're in store. There's a few surfers out there who are completely wasting their time because the surf must be a third of a foot. Oh, there's just nothing out there. But we'll see what happens as the morning goes on. As you can see, the sun is now about to come up. This is a bit blown out, but it's about to come up, which is really cool. And so we're just waiting on that. There's a few other things happening around here. But I just wanted to draw your attention to, you see these waves coming in. They draw in, and have a look at this. So it comes in and in and in, and you get these nice lines, but then watch as the water goes away. Watch this. See that? It streaks away, and you can catch that in a photograph as it streaks away and it draws your eye into the photograph. And so you need to shoot on a slightly long exposure or get it exactly the right moment, just like there. And you wait till the waters come in and then receding. So it's the receding away from you that you want to capitalize on that opportunity to catch the draw and the lines that drag your eye into a photograph. That wraps us up for this morning. Here's the shot that I ended up with that, as you can see, is sliced up to convey the different degrees and things that happened. I'm going to put the bird in the sky now, and we're going to go have a look for some hammerheads, and yeah, that might be where the video ends. So, yeah, sorry for wasting your time and keeping you hooked right to the end to show you no hammerhead sharks, but potentially in the future we will have another crack. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please subscribe, follow, join the channel, all that gear, and I'll see ya in the next one. Bye.